Thank you. You all would have got the meeting recorded message. So in order to support what we're seeing contextually is within our profession, budgets are tightening. There's a fiscal reality in terms of the dropping of living standards, tight budgets, pressurized communities. The world's a bit of a challenging place. The politics of division are very much playing out, not only globally, but starting to play out internally as well. There's and actually libraries, a lot of libraries in terms of customers and communities are on the front line of that. We see that quite early in our profession. The fast pace of technological change. There's always been technological change, and libraries have always been good at understanding and adapting and utilising new technologies. But it seems like the pace of it is quickening as well. And that's not to pose a terrible version of a context setting for the world, but I think it's like a reality of not only LIANZA, but also the libraries and the work of librarians. And I think it also provides great opportunity for librarians to be working at the front line of some of the challenges in our society and to be working for good and delivering positive change and delivering positive outcomes and advocating for positive investment and change in our communities. And so sometimes when things seem really tight, it's easy to shrink. As LIANZA, we've decided not to do that, and I'll speak about that a bit more later. But this strategy draws on our largest ever member survey that we can remember. More than 400 responses from the membership survey. We've also got sector census data. We've got various feedback from our communities and special interest groups and regional networks that all came in as part of the development of the sector. And this approach allowed us to focus on priorities already identified by members and supported by a bunch of evidence. Last year, we sent out some of the summary information around the survey, but just a bit of a reminder. As a membership organisation for workers and professionals in the library and information space, but as a membership organisation, the main theme we took from the feedback we've heard through the survey and through other channels is to do, this kind of sound a little bit like fixing the basics, but it's not that. It's just like do the sort of core work of a membership organisation well. We heard that we didn't necessarily want to constantly be doing new things, but do the core of our work really well. And that's professional development, that's advocacy, and that's connection. Feeling part of a community, feeling part of a profession, and having opportunities to connect with those who are in this for similar reasons to what all of our members are in this for. It's also a bit of a plug for our surveys and your role as advocates. I think we will run the survey again next year, and we really encourage people to use it because it is very influential to how the board makes decisions and how it thinks about things. So again, just responding to the changing environment, and I spoke a little bit about it before. In terms of the global sort of situation, some of the change in politics that are happening around us and in our communities, some fiscal challenges. But as an organisation, how that was playing out in terms of LIANZA was we had a really good look at our trends as a board. And here's some of those trends. There were declining membership, and that was a trend. Declining revenue, partly related to the declining membership, limited capacity to do all the work that is intended and wanted, and also sort of a changing profession in terms of professional development, but also demographics within the profession as well. So with that in mind, there's been quite a bit of strategic shifting that's happened already in the last 12 to 18 months, and that has informed the strategy that we're launching as well. And some of that shift is, the membership and revenue information was quite sobering. It pretty much said that in 10 to 11 years, we wouldn't be able to exist as currently or in some recognizable form as LIANZA now, with the declining membership and with the declining revenue. So strategically, what the board, we were a council then, we're a board now, what we sort of have done is to change our membership model. The enhanced institutional membership, which many organisations have taken up, that's resulted in personal memberships changing from about 800 to 2,000 and something. I can't see Laura's face, but she'll tell me it's like 2,100 or something like that.
2,850, or is it slightly higher? Geez, sorry to interrupt, Mike.
Nearly 3,000, let's say that.
Yeah.
Nearly 3,000. And what that's done is that's sort of created a broader community that's enabled us to work on our communities, our special interest groups and our regional networks, to bring people together more. We've also implemented the Te Tiriti in terms of the professional development module, and that also provides a real strong incentive for those institutional members to take up that enhanced membership model. It brings a stronger kind of body of professionals together. It then enables us to stand on better ground, on firmer ground, when we are looking to new revenue streams and working with partners, responding to requests for engagement with 3,000 members is different to saying we represent 800 members. And we can see opportunities, and we have frameworks in place for new opportunities to grow our revenue base as well. So within that, we've also decided in that overall trend to not use austerity and to shrink and to cut and to just sort of survive. We've decided to spend to help work our way through that future. We created Paula's role around professional development. I'm really investing in supporting our communities and our networks to connect, really investing in that professional development journey for those at any stage of their profession. And so we see some really positive signs with the strategic shifts that we've already made. And that's kind of the context within which we developed the strategy for what do the next 3 years look like. Just a reminder of our vision: a thriving library and information sector in New Zealand. As part of the strategy development, we thought, do we need a new vision? We decided to retain the vision from the previous strategy. We didn't think that visions should change every 3 or 4 years. It's a good vision. It's good to strive to thrive. And thriving means skilled and confident professionals, strong and sustainable organisations, meaningful connections across the profession, recognition of the value of libraries and their contribution, and librarians and their contribution to society, and that New Zealanders benefit from access to knowledge, information, and the cultural assets and cultural documentary heritage that our institutions look after and provide access to. So a strong connection with the vision from the past there. This is the strategy overview. It has 5 priorities, and I'm going to go into a little bit more depth into explain each of those priorities. So we've got 5 priorities and a commitment. So professional journey and workforce development, sector connection and membership, sustainable and adaptive, and that's especially about us as an organisation, sector leadership, advocacy and identity, and a bit more of a future kind of longer term focus about being future ready. And so what do we need as a profession to be ready for the shifts that are going to be happening in the future? What are the signals and signs that we see that are coming, and how do we prepare the profession for that future as well? There's also a commitment. So the commitment to Te Tiriti is woven throughout the strategy. And those of you who have worked on strategic documents will have probably come across the sort of challenge or question that comes up as like, is this its own commitment? Is this its own priority? Or is this something we weave through in terms of being exemplary partners? Is it something that we weave through the strategy and sort of underpins it all? So what we've decided with LIANZA is that it's a commitment. And it's a commitment that threads through the whole strategy. So it's not a priority in itself, rather it's sort of central to everything we do in some way. So it's not a standalone work stream. So that informs governance, leadership, decision-making, priorities, membership, engagement, etc. So 5 priorities and a commitment. There they are. Already spoken to them. They're all interconnected, and I think that's kind of an important thing to note as well. They're not sort of standalone things. They do relate to each other, and there's a cohesiveness there. And when we came up with these, again, the membership voice was really strong in trying to listen to what members wanted. But we also as a board strategized ourselves in terms of what would good look like in 5 years? What would good look like in 15 years? What would bad look like in 5 and 15 years? What's some wild ideas that might happen in the next 5 or 15 years? And we brainstormed a lot of that in terms of short-term, long-term, what do we want to avoid happening as much as what do we want to really positively strive for? And then what were some of the sort of wild ideas? It led to quite a great whiteboard session, that actually. So those combinations of our strategic thinking and all the reading we've done up to that session and the membership voice were really important. So for the first one, just a little bit more information. I won't sort of read the slides. You can read the slides, but very much skilled, recognised, sustainable workforce across all career stages. And that was really important, not necessarily to focus on young professionals, emerging professionals, middle professionals, later professionals, whatever you call it, but be really inclusive in terms of our professional development and career support. So the priority focuses on Te Tōtara, the CPD pathway that I'd already mentioned. That strategic shift has already happened. Cert LIANZA, professional recognition, learning opportunities, and workforce capability development. And those learning opportunities, I think you would have noticed the significant spike in learning opportunities through our webinars and various engagements that are happening. We're getting really good numbers, and we're seeing really good engagement with those opportunities. So, this is building on good and making it better and maximising that. So the member impact here, and we thought about the member impact with every one of our priorities. What's the member impact? So for us, a key member impact here was, thinking about the members, what's in it for me individually to be, in my career, to be part of LIANZA? It is this, among some other things. Opportunities to learn and grow, etc., career pathways. So priority 2 is around sector connection and membership. Again, library and information sector doesn't exist within a nicely framed border of profession. But in fact, we had a really good conversation about the I in LIANZA and back into the history of the I. Is the I still relevant? Is it just librarians? Is it about reinforcing what a librarian is in its broader sense? We decided to retain the I, and that was a bigger conversation that needed to happen with the members if we were to make changes there. But this priority is about strengthening networks, supporting our special interest groups, committees, and communities, encouraging collaboration, and creating opportunities to connect and learn from one another. We really heard that strongly through our members, that those face-to-face connections and professional connections are really valued. I think my own view is that this is a sort of a post-COVID kind of phenomena that we're really starting to see, and also a result of the increasing work from home that can happen, is that engaged members and humans in general actually really benefit and enjoy coming together in a kanohi te kanohi kind of way. So we know that when professionals are connected, knowledge is shared, challenges are solved, fun happens, and innovation grows. And so the member impact here in terms of what's in it for me is stronger networks, more collaboration, greater opportunities to share and learn, and increased engagement across the sector. And I think that sense of just being part of something bigger and having a peer network as well. Sector leadership and advocacy and professional identity. This is where the I conversation came in, not the one before. Really clearly, advocacy was seen as something that members wanted from LIANZA and part of the reason for joining. So members wanted LIANZA to be visible, influential, effective in representing library and information professionals. So this priority focuses on advocacy, submissions at a high level for local and central government policy and legal work that happens, government engagement in that space. And we've been pretty successful recently, especially we cite the Privacy Act engagement that we had, submissions, select committee conversations, etc. Sector leadership, working with others across the sector as well, the broader sector, and promoting the value of libraries and information professionals. And we will continue to champion the vital contribution that libraries and librarians make to communities, education, research, culture, democracy, lifelong learning, social cohesion, heaps of the real good stuff that makes society flourish. So in terms of the membership impact here, what's in it for me? Stronger sector representation, greater visibility for professional issues, more coordinated advocacy efforts, and increased influence with decision makers. And hopefully we see members seeing themselves in their work as part of the broader policy kind of settings of the nation and of their communities as well. Sustainable and adaptive. This was a real key priority in terms of focusing on us as LIANZA within that broader context I was talking about before, the fiscal constraints, the trend in membership. How do we make sure LIANZA itself is resilient, both financially and strategically? How do we make sure we're aligned? How do we make sure we're fit for purpose for our members? So to support members effectively, LIANZA must have strong governance, financial sustainability, organisational capability, strategic partnerships, effective and efficient systems and resources. And as I said before, there's some strategic shifts that have happened already that are reflected in this strategy. So some of the governance changes that we've seen in LIANZA was about some of the office holders having a 2-year term, president-elect, etc., from council to board, from executive director to CEO. They're not just labels. There's a bit more that sits around that to provide a little bit more continuity to the governance and leadership of the organisation as well. It's not without its challenges making those changes, but we really saw that as something that was a positive development, and we want to make sure we're keeping an eye on the sustainability and adaptability of the organisation. We've also put in place some, very much like to hat tip to Lydia, the treasurer here, some longer term financial planning. So we approve our budgets not on this year and next year, but on 4-year views and on trends, and start to make some of our strategic decisions to make sure we're not just doing things for the short term. We're really thinking about the sustainability and effectiveness of the organisation longer term as well. So what should this mean for members? This should mean better services, greater organisational stability and continuity, stronger partnerships, an improved membership experience. And I think you should also feel confident as members in the ability of LIANZA to lead and to organise itself and to govern well. It was really interesting coming up with this priority because those 4 things are what we're focusing on, but we also wanted to make sure that within the 3-year frame of a strategy, we were also looking further out as well. So we've framed this as preparing for what comes next, or the future focus priority. And so it's important to govern and to lead well, is to not just focus on the strategic period yet, but the longer period, as I say. Look for the signs, look for what's emerging in terms of trends, look for the risks that are emerging, and making sure we're making decisions now that position us well into the future. That enables us, but also helps members understand and prepare for emerging technologies, workforce transformation, future skills, innovation opportunities, and where those lie for librarians and libraries, and also understand changing communities and their information needs. And we do know that demographics of New Zealand are changing quite significantly, and so those kinds of trends. So LIANZA intends to help lead these conversations and support members in navigating these future challenges with confidence. And I think you'll start to see in our membership activities, our webinars, etc., some of these future kind of trend conversations and topics coming in here, and I really encourage members to engage with them. So in terms of member impact, what it should mean for you and for members, being better prepared for future trends, have access to some emerging knowledge and thoughts around these future trends, and to help you and your libraries navigate future workforce and technology changes. But also we think it's really important that we wanted to ensure that members have had opportunity to help shape the future in that way. It's not just a matter of here's what's happening, go and do some work, but really what is the library and information sector of the future, and as engaged members, being part of those conversations with LIANZA about shaping what that future looks like. So our commitments and our 5 priorities. But really, what we're going to be focusing on as a board now is working with members in terms of implementation, and the little tagline here about it belonging to us all. So the strategy itself is obviously, it's not an endpoint, it's not a document that you put somewhere, but it's the beginning of ongoing work and conversations. We're really striving to ensure that members can help bring the strategy to life through events, professional development activities, participating by attending, but also being part of the conversations actively as well. We're really wanting to see, and we're starting to see, some good engagement in our communities and SIGs again, and just sort of really at a local level, engaging with what's going on around you through our regional networks as well. We've got some advocacy initiatives in the pipeline. We're just about to set up we actually agreed at the last board meeting to set up our advocacy working group. And there'll be some other sector collaborations that come along as well with other organisations. And we're also really mindful that the most successful kind of initiatives and implementation that comes out of the strategy will be those that are shaped and delivered alongside and with members, not just board initiatives doing or special interest groups doing work, but this is really something for us all to partake in, all 3,000 of you. So just by closing, just a reminder, this is about, I hope we've explained the sort of context around the strategy and some of the sort of strategic shifts that have been happening and what we want to be focusing on for the next few years and beyond. It really belongs to us all. It reflects what we've heard from members, what we know about the changing environment around us, what shifts we've made already, as I said, and what we really believe needs to strengthen the library sector and enable us to thrive as libraries and librarian and information professionals. We're really excited about what we can achieve together. I'm really enjoying personally my work with the board and with LIANZA. I think it's quite an exciting time to be part of this profession actively. And yeah, so thank you for turning up. Thank you for your ongoing commitment to the profession. Thank you for responding to the survey. And we really hope that that's something that you can share as well in terms of the strategy. I'm just going to briefly hand over to Laura Marshall to tell you where you can access the strategy, and also a bit of a reminder that if within your local communities, within your local regional networks, if you'd like to know more about the strategy or have some similar kind of presentation, just make contact with the office. The board, we're scattered, we're a national organisation, we have representation from around the nation, and we're all prepared to talk to the strategy when and if required. So Laura, where do people find it?
So to find the strategy, if you go to our website and it's under the About section, and you'll see another tab called Reports and Codes. So under Reports and Codes is our last two strategies, but also annual reports, code of practice, council minutes, and AGM. So everything sort of similar is stored under there, but yeah, the About section, Reports and Codes, and you can't miss it. But like Mark said, if anyone would like a presentation or a chat about the strategy with their own group, please just reach out to the office.
Okay, Jess put the link in the chat. I'm just going through the chat to see if there's any questions, which there aren't. So I'm hoping people are frantically or thoughtfully writing some questions, but you're also just welcome to put your hand up and we can...
And I also just wanted to share, Mark, I think I forgot to put this in the notes, with our survey that we used this year. It was our largest ever, as Mark said, of which we're so appreciative for people giving their feedback. But it was also developed in conjunction with the board and a market researcher. So it was a very independent survey. Often the office will do a survey, but this was an independent one, really speaking to members. So that will be repeated this year. And as Mark said, when the survey comes out, use your voice. Thank you.
I'm practicing my silence. No questions? Comments? Lydia said, happy birthday, Mark. Yeah, Chris said it right at the start as well. Yeah. Unfortunately, probably like a lot of families at the moment, my family there's a lot of flu in my household. So, you know, I'll worry about birthday stuff next week, I think.
Worry about birthday stuff. The question that I asked Laura M and privately was, can we sing happy birthday to Mark?
Yeah, the answer's no. The answer's no. You don't.
I couldn't find the chat. I've been frantically looking.
The answer's no. Okay.
So there's a couple of questions. Thank you. Anika, thank you for your comment about the strengthening of the PD. We're really pleased with the professional development shift that's happened within LIANZA. Building on that, strengthening that, ensuring our ongoing commitment to that, we really think we've got a really strong product for members. Chris has asked about sharing the strategy. Yep, good question, Chris. We have regular catch-up with some of our closer sort of sister organisations like PLNZ, ARANZ, LIANZA. Laura Marshall is also on the National Librarians Advisory Group. I've got the name wrong. What is it?
I think
Strategic Advisory Forum.
Yes.
Something like that. So we'll be sharing it as part of that. And interestingly, some of the priorities that have come out of conversations with those organisations, especially around workforce development and professional development, have helped inform the strategy.
But yeah, as Mark said, we do meet with our other organisations. We put the strategy on the agenda, and then we have a chat to them about it as well.
Yeah. So around Coalition for the Books, that's been me recently. They've been a bit quiet. Well, it's been me, not just recently. It's been me in terms of the LIANZA representation, and they've been a bit quiet recently after the launch of their sort of strategic document. So yeah, very much still thinking about how we work with that literary sector as well, and what that looks like going forward.
It's on our face-to-face agenda in October.
It is actually, yeah. Okay. Might just leave it there. Oh, one new message. So Heather, yeah, about linking with ALIA. I'll let Laura Marshall answer that, linking with ALIA, because she's best mates with their CEO over there. Laura?
So I have regular catch-ups with Kathy, but I have to admit the last couple of months they have dropped off. So they have a copy of our strategy, and we will talk to them about theirs as well. But we generally try and collaborate. We still need to follow our member path of what our members want from us, but we do work very collaboratively on professional development, and especially what's happening in that sector and advocacy. They've just been working on a safety online toolkit, which we're going to have chat to them about how we adapt it for New Zealand too. So no, we do work very closely with them.
Yeah, and Chris asked about IFLA as well. Yeah, Chris, the trend report from IFLA was also one of the input documentations in terms of like the overall thinking that the council, in reading the council read before going into that sort of strategy session that we had. I should have shared some photos from that session because it was kind of fun too.
And Shaskia said, loving the LIANZA connection this year. It's been fab. Yes, it has. So I think we're really improving that connection with LIANZA, which has been really good. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Mandy. Just acknowledging Mandy's here from PLNZ, who's added that as well. Yeah, the regular chats and connections we have. We're just sharing and finding those opportunities. Here's what we're up to. Here's what we've done. We're finding those opportunities to connect on a really regular basis. Chris, we will inform IFLA that we have a new strategy. Okay. I just want to thank you all again for turning up. Oh, Siobhan's got a hand up. I haven't been able to see the hands, Siobhan. Sorry, you've got your hand up.
No, it's fine. And it's not a question. I just wanted to say, as a member of the board who supported this mahi, I just wanted to say thank you to both yourself, Mark, and particularly to you, Laura, and the wider LIANZA office. It was, for the folks here, there was a lot of work behind the scenes to bring this together, and your leadership and your mahi have been really appreciated. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Siobhan.
Thank you.
Okay. I am going to close with karakia, with unuhia. Karakia tātou. Unuhia, unuhia, unuhia ki te uru tapanui, ki wātea, ki mama, te nākau, te tinana, te wairua, te aratakatu. Koiara e rongo whakairea, ake ki runga ki a tina, tina, ue tai ki e. Thank you all. Thanks for turning up. Thanks for having, have good days.